Hey everyone, it's Parker with Read on Tech, and in this video we will be doing part 2 of our new video series on Emergency Vehicle Creator version 3. This specific video will be going over the pattern creator and the light groups. We will be going over first how to use flashers, then how to set up a lighting group, then how to use faders, and then finally we will go over how to use rotators. So to do this, I'm going to be using the vehicle we outfitted in the last video, and I'm simply going to select it and hit edit, and that will bring us back into the customization menu, in which I'm going to actually come over to the RAM bar and fix the light name prefix, because front left and front right, sorry, FR and FL are actually used by the wheels as well in a chassis. And so because of the way that EVC v3 works in the new emergency vehicle handler, it actually doesn't care where the lights are in the vehicle. They can be in the wheels, they can be in MISC, they can be in the body, they can be in the drive seat, and EVC v3 will be able to emergency vehicle handler will be able to detect them and use them as lights. So because of that, we don't want to use FL or FR in any of our names. So I'm actually going to name this to RB, or yeah, we'll just name it to RB, actually PB for push bar, right? So we have PB1, PB2, PBR, PBL. For the first pattern, I'm going to go ahead and use the stages, and we're going to do stage 1. And when you enter this new menu by clicking edit on the pattern, we have a new menu. This is our, we get return to vehicle setup, flashers, faders, rotators, and we also get the ability to save and load, which works just like you would expect. You can add a save by a save name, add it, overwrite a save, and load a save or delete a save, and all that kind of stuff. For this specifically, we're going to click add section, because this is a flasher and we want a flasher section for our stage 1. And of course, also we have, so this is our sections, this is our controls, we have our colors, play, lock, and refresh, which will basically reset it back to default. And for stage 1, I'm going to do a very simple pattern of 8 lights, and I'm just going to do the edge of the light bar, so LB1, 2, and as you can see, when I hit enter, specifically, like if I do LB like whatever and I click away, it's not going to do anything. I have to hit enter and it will automatically name everything else. So I'm going to do the edge of the light bar, so I'm going to do LB1, LB2, LB9, and you can see it automatically propagates down. And then I'm going to do LB21 for the other side. Now for this specific pattern, I'm just going to do simple blue, red, flash, basically just side to side. It's the same exact thing, just like that. And because it's so simple, I'm going to remove these columns down here. As you can see, I'm hitting enter to basically avoid this pop-up. You can also hit delete, and you can hold shift to do the same exact thing, just without the pop-up. And I'm going to set the wait time to 0.1, and then I'm going to hit play or P on my keyboard. And basically that's my stage 1. I'm going to make this a little bit slower because it is, after all, a stage 1. Maybe a little bit faster. And you can also see our little indicator showing us which part of the pattern we're previewing. Now I'm going to also just include the, because the flash bar isn't going to be very visible from the sides, or the light bar, I'm going to also include the runners, or the side runners. So I'm going to add another section. You could do it in the same section, but I prefer splitting up by light bar. And I'm going to only add 4. I'm going to do left 1, left 5, right 1, right 1, and right 5. And the same thing, I'm just going to delete all of these. Now, I don't know, I'm just going to do basically the same exact thing, blue, red, blue, red, or actually I'll do red, blue. And then I will also set this to 0.2. And if you saw there how I wasn't reaching up to click the colors, you can use key WERTY to set colors, and you can also configure that keybind in the settings menu. You can replace it with your num key if you wanted. However, I just recommend leaving it at QWERTY. And now that that's done, you can see I can preview it. And I'm going to export that onto the vehicle by clicking export and just clicking export. And then I'm going to play here so I can show it to you guys. Once the vehicle loads in, I'll go ahead and hop in, hit J, and you can see that the pattern is playing. And you can also see it running on the side runners down there. Now I didn't add it to the RAM bar or anything, so we don't expect anything else. Just a very simple stage 1 pattern. Now you can also, of course, go more complex. So I'm going to quickly jump to a stage 3 pattern. So I'm going to hit add pattern to get to stage 3. Of course, add section. And our light bar we're going to do separate it from front to back. So I'm going to do 10 for the front, 12 for the back. And this is where patterns start to get more complex when you start to do all of your lights. So LB1, LB11 through 22. And then for this pattern, I want to show you a neat little trick you can do. So I can, if I want my lights to run a little longer than 0.05, I can simply stack the lights on top of each other. And basically what you'll see is it slowly gets longer and longer. And this can also be used to create the very common pattern, which is that on, off, long, on. And basically you get that just like that. And that's very common. And you can make full patterns out of this, which is what I'm going to do in this case. And you can also just go crazy and literally draw and go crazy. And you actually get somewhat okay pattern out of it, I guess you could say. Not very realistic, but yeah, you can. And so I'm just going to go ahead and create a very simple pattern real fast, and I'll time-lapse it for you too. Okay, so I've made a very simple pattern. Honestly, it took me way too long. I am recording kind of later in the day after I've had actual work and class, so I'm tired. And I've also taken like 3 recording attempts already. So I made kind of as good of a pattern as I could come up with for now. You can see it's kind of okay-ish. But go ahead and export it onto the vehicle. And of course, I didn't have to go all the way back. But, I can hop in game and go ahead and switch to stage 3, and you can see the pattern is playing on the vehicle as you would expect. Of course, again, it's very simple, not the greatest pattern in the world. I've definitely done better. But it's just for a tutorial video, so it's not that important. Okay, so next what we'll get into is light groups. Now, light groups are very, very powerful. It's basically taking any number of lights that you want and putting them under one name, so you can control them all with one singular fader, rotator, or flasher, which is very, very powerful, especially for things like DVI. So to show you that, I'm going to make a simple DVI pattern. And honestly, for this one, I'm not going to go too complex because it does take a minute to select all the lights that you actually want. So I'm going to go ahead and go to light settings and the light groups, click add light group. You can name it whatever you want, but this is basically your new fake light name. I'm going to call it DVI, and I'm just going to select all the lights just so I can make a very simple showcase of what light groups are capable of. In your actual vehicle, you might use like every other light or something like that to make DVI. But you can see I've already created a DVI pattern because, again, I already made an attempt at this. And we're going to hop in here, go to our faders, and I'm going to change the name of the fader to DVI because that's what it's called. I'm going to have it be blue. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace... So what this is we have a tween. So you can either have a simple advanced or a weight type. Advanced has more advanced features where you can choose the easing style and easing direction. We won't get into that into this video. So you have your type, your color, your goal. So your goal is the transparency you actually want to fade to. For example, if you want it to turn off, you would do a 1. If you want it to not fully turn off, but just be slightly visible, you do 0.5, or you want to do 0. For those of you that know mathematics, this is just a linear interpretation for your transparency between 0 and 1, and for your lights for your max brightness between 0. That's what it is. And then down here you have your time, which I'm going to leave 0.5 for this demonstration. And when you add a new one, it automatically defaults to weight. You can make it simple, advanced, whatever. I'm going to leave it at a weight, and I'm going to add a simple, a blue. I'm going to make this one transparency 0.5. I'm going to add another weight, and basically when I play, you'll get this. Just a very simple fader. I'm going to go ahead and export this onto the vehicle so I can show you it working in action. And when I hit play, you'll see that once the vehicle is ready, I can hop in and use the keybind I set, which was right the left bracket, and you can see it working perfectly fine. Now, of course, because I selected every light, we even have our takedowns and alley lights doing this. You wouldn't want to do this on an actual vehicle, but this is just a demonstration to show you how light groups work. So you can see every light that I had in my light group is doing what it's supposed to. And again, because of my light settings, it may not be looking exactly how you want it to. But again, that's up to you to make your light settings however you want. And when you turn it off, you'll see that it will even fade back off sometimes. If it's not in a weight, but that's a bug that will be fixed, but you can see it will try to fade back off. Anyway, so that's light groups and faders. And last but very much least, we will go over rotators, but to do that, I need to get a vehicle with rotators. So I will be right back. Okay, welcome back. Some of you may recognize this vehicle, but this is the easiest vehicle that I have on hand to demonstrate this. Again, this vehicle was provided, I believe, by our administrator, Alex. Although, if you made this vehicle and you aren't Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, please. Anyways, to demonstrate rotators, I'll go ahead and just get this vehicle set up. Edit vehicle, install, and that's it. Then we'll hop into a pattern, go into our rotators, and add a section. Now, by default, the rotators are set up with a simple 90 degrees to 90 degrees. And I mean, it's quite simple. Literally, just we'll do this, which is cool. Actually, as a matter of fact, I need to double check what the names of the lights are on this. That is what I will be doing. So for one of them, I'll go over this real fast. So basically, what you have here is you have angle infinite, which is just saying keep spinning forever. And then you have a wait, which again, just like in faders, will wait a specified amount of time before moving on to the next action. Now, do you know if you use infinite and then you add an action below it, that action will never be reached because infinite is infinite and goes forever and will not stop until the light stops. So for this first one, I'll do a simple, I'll demonstrate something that somebody was asking about. I need to go get the numbers for it real fast because I don't remember off the top of my head. Someone was asking if they could do like have it flip around and then do 45 to 45, which I think is what NYPD does or something like that. So I'll demonstrate that in this video. You can see it'll flip around and just bang, 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 bang. Because those are the angles I set. Yeah, no. It should actually be 180 plus 45. Whatever, we'll do that. It works anyways. Actually, but we'll want to do the other direction, so maybe I'll set it negative, and then we'll get, yeah, the exact opposite. And then for rotator 2, I'm going to demonstrate the infinite, and I will make this spin in the opposite direction by simply adding a negative symbol in front of it, and we get it spinning that way. If I want it to spin the other way, I can simply remove that negative sign. Now, do not add in negative velocity if you're using the angle, but because that could cause some weird behavior. So we'll have our lights like this. I might slow it down just a little bit on this one because it is a little fast. And then, of course, we'll go ahead and export onto the vehicle. And we'll close the menu. And we can go ahead and playtest and look at it running on the vehicle. And you can see it is indeed doing what we want it to do. Oh, rotator 1's on this side. That makes sense. But just like in EVC V2, it's not actually doing it in the right direction. It's rotating upwards instead of side to side. So we're going to fix that in the same way we did in V2. We're going to add a part. We're going to call it inverse, the exact same name. Again, we're going to set the size to 0.1, make it transparent, copy the position of the lights, paste it in there. And then again, just like in V1, you're going to want to have this this blue line in the direction you want it to actually rotate in. So that blue line is going to be horizontal. And I will copy and paste this into rotator 2. Oh, sorry, you might want to make sure that the little L is right there. You can do that by hitting Control L on your keyboard just to make sure. And for rotator 2, of course, we want it in the same position. So there we go. And real fast, because we just realized that rotator 1 is actually on the left side, we're going to go back in and reset this to be the original angles. So that way it will be going that way. And we'll again export onto the vehicle. Hit play here. Oh yes, okay. This is another problem I saw people have a lot with V2, is you need to make sure that you anchor your inverse parts. And also, again, make sure that they are spelled inverse with no capitals like I did in the video. And you can see now they are spinning the correct direction. But oh wait, just like in V2, what is it doing? I want my model to move with it too. So let's do that. So just like in V2, we're going to take our rotators, we're going to shove them in MISC. We're going to go to our actual lights. We're going to add a weld constraint. And for rotator 1, this weld constraint will connect to part 0 to rotator 1, then to our metal, and we'll make a second one that connects to our union. Do the same thing on the other side and set our part 0 to rotator 2, then our metal, on the other one, of course, our metal and our union. And now our little navigator rotators will rotate with the lights. And you can see it's spinning off axis. So if you want it to spin actually on the correct axis, you can use the inverse part to achieve that. So I'm going to copy the position of the actual full model, and I'm going to paste it in both ones. And what that will do is basically tell it that the center is actually farther back than the light itself. And you can see now we're spinning directly on the center, just like we would want. And you can see we're also getting our little 45-degree angles, whoop, on this side, whoop, whoop. And this one's spinning forever on this side. And when we turn it off, the really cool feature of V3 is just like with the faders, it'll return back to its starting position. Isn't that so cool? Anyways, that's everything for the pattern creator in Emergency Vehicle Creator version 3. In the next video, I will show you all how to set up and use sirens, except for modifiers, because that is an advanced feature, and that will be gone over in an advanced video. So yeah, see you in the next video. Bye-bye.